Hello theme park enthusiasts, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. In this episode, I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the details and shops for this first area in Cliffs Amusement Park, or my recreation of Cliffs Amusement Park. I'm starting out here with Galaxy. As I did the last time and it seemed to work well, I went ahead and recorded the footage here, and then I'll just narrate separately from it. Seems like that gives a cleaner look to it, and it allows me to focus on the detail work while I'm building and not have to worry about how much time I've been putting into a building and stuff, because I can always speed up the footage as I've done here. So, with this one, the Galaxy roller coaster has just like a sort of awning over the top here, and I felt like the diner pieces actually work pretty well for this, because it does have a little bit of that old-fashioned look as well as a little bit of lighting to it. So I figured change the colors up to fit with what the ride has, and then go ahead and also change the posts there to hold up the roof instead of just standard walls. But here, just playing around with the colors some just to see what works, figuring out what I liked. I said this ride does have a unique color scheme with blue, white, red, and orange. So tried to mix and match those somewhat here to make it look as close to the ride as I could. But in the next video here, my plan is to start putting in some of the rides in the next area of the park. Now that everything's sort of been established in this area and all the theming has been sort of set up, as well as some of the shops and such, I feel like this area is overall completed, other than the train that'll go through the area. But with the train, that's something that I'll sort of put in at the end, because I wanted to sort of weave around the other rides and the other locations on the map. So we'll have to wait on that a little bit. Here I was just finishing off the roofing. Roofing always seems to want to fight a little bit here. Couldn't get this last piece to go exactly as I wanted it in. And then I finally was able to get there. So last detail I wanted to put for the Galaxy ride was the name of the ride itself. That's something that the ride does have on it. It's a little bit more themed than it is here, but I felt like using the traditional lights and such of the ride worked pretty well. So I went ahead and went with those. Looked at the lettering. Originally I was going to try to put it on the roof to begin with, and then realized that was going to be a bit of a challenge. So decided I'll get a flat piece of grass here, go ahead and set up the wording, and then I can move it to the roof. So again, here I'm playing around with the colors just to see how they look, figuring out what I wanted as far as that. And then I just went ahead and duplicated to bring the next letter in, and was able to go ahead and spell out the name as it is spelled on the ride itself, and then I went ahead back and changed the colors as necessary. So it has been a couple of episodes here where I've been doing just theming and such, but really these things are important to the overall park. I need to set up and establish sort of the layout as well as the sort of feel of the park. So I needed to go ahead and get some of this stuff done, even though it's not as entertaining as building some of the rides or experiencing the rides on ride. But with that in mind, as I said, the next episode will be bringing in some new rides to the park. I'm going to be putting in both a Sky Flyer as well as a Tilt-A-Whirl in the next episode. And I may also put in a launch tower as well, or a drop tower, I think. So here I realized that this lettering was still actually attached to the building, so when I try to move it, it's moving the entire building. So I went ahead and disconnected every letter from the building. That allowed me to go ahead and move it separately here. But yeah, with going ahead and getting those three rides put in place next episode, I'll really be pretty much in position then to go ahead and put in the roller coaster that is the main feature of Cliffs Amusement Park, the wooden roller coaster, the Rattler. So that's going to be coming in the near future here as well. It's going to take a little bit of doing in order to get that, but it will be worth it. And as I said, I think it's just going to be easier to establish where that coaster goes once I've gone ahead and put in all these other rides, so that since the coaster weaves around them, it'll just make it a bit easier that way. Here I'm just doing the traditional trick of putting in some gold pirate chests to up the scenery rating for the queue, and that way make sure that the ride attracts all the customers. So that's all I wanted to do over there. Now moving over to this location, where I'm going to go ahead and build a building around these two facilities, as well as put in some other eateries and shops. So with this building, it has sort of a yellowish tint, and it's a stucco texture, so I wanted to go do that. Took me a moment there to realize that why I wasn't seeing the other pieces was because of the fact I only had it on the columns at that point. So went ahead in here, decided on which arch I liked best for this. Went ahead with the rounded arch. I felt that fit fairly well. It is supposed to be a southwestern design, so the rounded arch isn't exactly perfect, but the color scheme is also unique to Cliff's, so I felt since it's unique that way, it works fine. So when I put in that piece of wool, it suddenly changed the color on that arch. I come back and I'm able to fix that in a little bit, but it really did bother me at first. I don't know why it changed the color on that. But as I said, I was able to get it rectified here in a little bit. So then I know this building I wanted to take up pretty much this entire area. Was deciding how I wanted that to work. And so I decided what I'll do is I'll connect these two pieces and have a pass through here, which does somewhat exist in the building itself, and we'll just have that pass through, have the roof over top of it. So there I was able to get that arch fixed the way I wanted to. And now we'll just have that small piece of roof that goes over top of that area. Then, as I said, I did want to add in a few more food stands, so I go ahead and put those in preparation. Then in this area, I know I wanted to have at least an ice cream shop, a drink shop, and a sort of burger and fries place. So here we've got the ice cream shop going in, then we'll get the burger and fries place going in there with the chief beef. Continue on the building then. Deciding if I wanted to put the piece in the middle here, but then decided it really needed to look whole. So I went ahead and put that in. Go ahead and put in some stucco roofing here and change the color so that it matches the rest of the building. Realized that this portion here was sticking out from under the roof. Wasn't a huge fan of that, so needed to figure that out. And realized I could just move it in one space and it would work perfectly fine. So I'll get that taken care of right here. So at first I sort of felt that was going to be the end for this building. I did put in some columns here, just some basic columns. Originally I was looking at stucco, but it just wasn't going to work. So I go ahead instead with some wood columns that I felt were going to work. And they seem to do the trick to give me the look I was going for. And as I said, I will put a path in that area there, so that'll take care of making this accessible and used. Becomes obstructed there, so I just take control and create the rest of the path. That looks good enough in that area, I'd say. In this area here is where the tilt-a-whirl is going to be going, I believe. It's either that or the Starflyer. So we'll see how that goes here in the next episode. I've got to look back at the map and remember sort of which ride comes next in that area. But they'll both be going in on the left-hand side of this building. So here, just getting some awnings in place for each of the different eateries. Then going in and adding the extra toppings to the ice cream as well as the burgers. So, basic thing, I'm not trying to attract a ton of people in order to make more money or whatever, but this, I'm not really making it to make money. This is, as I said, a recreation. So I wanted it so that the park guests enjoy it as best as possible. So with that in mind, I wanted to give them all the goodies possible, and I didn't raise the prices at all on any of the food. I just want it to be, as I said, enjoyable for the park guests. Same thing here with Chief Beef. Add all the different stuff to the burgers. Originally, I thought I was going to end the episode right there, but then I realized I do need 2 more buildings over here, and one I definitely need to have a drink area. So, went ahead and looked at how this should be, and I know that there's going to be a path that's going to come across from just below the galaxy and above the sort of Old West village that I've created there. So I was sort of looking at how that should be. Then I also realized, you know what, I should put in some gift shops in this building. So originally I was just going to put in a Hats Fantastic and a Looney Balloons next to each other here, but for some reason they're obstructed. They wouldn't allow me to put them in next to each other. So I decided if it doesn't want that, then that's fine. I'll go ahead and put a hole in here. I'll put the Looney Balloons coming off this, which works perfectly fine also. Then I just go back here and go ahead and fill in the walls to make the two locations work. So now that building is fully complete and is the way I want it to be. Just going ahead and making sure all the hats and balloons are available for the 2 locations here. And as I said, we'll turn our attention back to the other location of the bathrooms and the soda fountain area that I want over here. So first thing I wanted to do was sort of change this path a little bit, try to make it a bit more curved and a bit narrower to give me a little bit extra room over here. So I felt good about the way that came out then. And with that then, I wanted to go ahead and, as I said, put in a restroom first, right in this area. I figured if I'm putting in a restroom, especially with the roller coaster right there, I might as well put in a first aid station. So I got those set up. Gonna do a very basic Adobe look to the building here because it's nothing special, just a building to have those facilities in for the guests. So put a little ornamentation on the top here just to make it look like I've tried a little bit. Then we'll put in a roof here. Looked at the different roofs. Didn't really like what I was seeing there, so I decided to go with the rounded Adobe or stucco. Then of course it sticks through the front wall, and then I couldn't change the colors here, so I had to go back in, put it in again. Still sticks through the front wall, so I played around with the color a little bit and made it into black so that it looked at least better for me, and I was pleased enough with that. Then here, as I said, I had to take into consideration I'm going to have the train coming through this area, so I needed to make sure that the drink building wasn't going to be too large in relation to everything else. So, played around with the soda shack here, got it to an angle that I liked, and I feel I can put the train behind it. That'll work out fine. So then went ahead and put one of the roofing pieces in place. got the front on it. Looked at something with a window, but the fact of the matter is then you're going to see the green brick right on the air side. Didn't really work for me, so I just went with the very simple and basic sides. And then I duplicated the roof onto the other sides just to give it a little bit of visual interest. Then I again, of course, added the add-ons to the drinks here. And with that, as I said, I've sort of finished off this area. I still had to put the train through, which will be one of the last things to come into the park. Oh, I also did put some trash cans in here because with all these different food things now, people will be creating litter. So, did want to have those in place. But with that in mind, this is pretty much where I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. If you enjoyed the episode, please go ahead and click the like button. If you've not already, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, so that you're aware when I produce new videos in the future.